Now, this is what you want on the opening day of the 2024 NFL season. The prop perspective for Thursday Night Football and the season debut in Kansas City between the Chiefs and the Ravens with the one, the only, SportsGrid's Tom Vecchio. Vecchio, we appreciate the time bright and early on this Thursday. Long day for you here on the Spiz Grizz. You'll be on the halftime show later with Casey Hudson, the post-game show with Casey as well, following all the action tonight in Kansas City. A long opening day of the NFL season, but a good one, Vecchio. We appreciate you being here.
Of course, that's right. Opening night tonight. We will also be doing the show for tomorrow night's game. NFL season is here. We waited all summer for this moment. I am ready to go. There's plenty to get to. Not the jack of all trades today. It's just football. Nope. Let's roll.
That's okay. Major League Baseball can take a back seat. So you get that prop perspective, the football extraordinaire for this Thursday night with Tom Vecchio. Kansas City remains a 3-point favorite. The total 46.5 for the season debut tonight in Arrowhead. A lot of what you do, Vecchio, is numbers driven. That's where you go first and foremost and then find the correlated bets to that. So what is the spread and the total telling you about tonight's season opener?
It's what we should be expecting from these two teams. I don't think it would be a surprise to anyone, or at least not to me, if we see this game start off really slow, as we have seen in a lot of openers. Really scripted. A part of me wants to go back to the bet that we made a few times last year, if you remember, opening drives, punt for both teams. That's always exciting, starting off the season a little bit slow. Wouldn't mind taking a live over if this number drops to 41, 40, somewhere around there. I think that would be a spot to certainly look. I am on Baltimore at +3. I am on the under as of now, but I will be looking to take a live over if that does drop down and try to find a bit of a middle ground.
Tom, quarterback props here from two MVPs, Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. Over 269.5 currently at the FanDuel Sportsbook for Patrick Mahomes. Lamar Jackson's number coming in at 217.5. If we look at their rushing props as a quarterback, Patrick Mahomes over 20.5 and Lamar Jackson over 48.5. Any looks at the quarterbacks and the expectations tonight?
Yeah, I think these are pretty spot on. Mahomes' number rising as the day goes on compared to where it opened. I'm not surprised there. A lot of people are going to be betting that. I think continuously, whether it was last season, the year before, moving forward throughout the rest of this year, it's probably going to be Lamar combined at 272 rushing plus passing is always good. But I also do like Mahomes at over 20 because we know he gets pushed out of the pocket. There's so many good options for him downfield that when he does get pushed out, he has been scrambling more and more. And we routinely see that, especially late in the season. So maybe Lamar combined over and then Mahomes just rushing over.
It's a very good look, Vecchio. Let's keep it on the ground. A new face in Baltimore, but a very familiar one in the National Football League. The King is now in the Charm City. Derrick Henry, the lead back for the Ravens. Isaiah Pacheco remains in KC. His total 61.5, a little bit higher for Henry at 65 and a hook. Let's start with Derrick Henry. What do you expect his role to be in this Ravens offense this season and from night number one?
I think it's going to be pretty consistent on a week-to-week basis, especially when we see the Ravens at home and they're, large favorites on the spread. I will say, if you like the Ravens +3 tonight, as I do, there's probably a little bit of correlation we can find with Henry over rushing attempts, because if they're going to be leading the game, they should be in a spot to at least run the ball a little bit. I'm not going to say I love that as one of my favorite bets for tonight's game. I think there are some other bets that I'll certainly be looking to, but there's a little bit of correlation there. I think we can continue to look to Pacheco combined as well, because we know he does play a good role in the passing game. And again, if they are out in front, they will be rushing it. We know he can break off these big runs. So, trying to find some easy stuff to start the season.
A lot of fun bets here to get in, which includes those wide receiver / tight end props here, receptions. If we're looking at yardage-wise, Rashee Rice, the lead dog here tonight for Kansas City at 60.5 receiving yards, currently at the FanDuel Sportsbook. If you're looking at the Baltimore Ravens here, Tom, it's Zay Flowers at 53.5. How do we approach the receivers tonight? Touchdown props, yardage props, reception props? How are we doing that?
Well, for the Ravens, we actually can look at a lot of what they did last year because they're essentially returning the same crew, same receiving core, I should say. Andrews, Flowers, Bateman out there. We know we're going to be getting from them. Justice Hill can come out of the backfield. I think Isaiah Likely is always going to be an interesting option. For the Chiefs, we know that Hollywood Brown is out for tonight. obviously drafting Worthy. That should replace that. So a little bit of consistency from the Ravens. We can take that going forward. And then the Chiefs are far more interesting because we know we have Kelsey and Rice, like these top two options that we should see on a night-to-night basis. But without Hollywood Brown, at least as of now, what are we going to be seeing from Worthy to start the season? And then how do these three, as of now, work in the dynamic of 1, 2, 3 in terms of target share overall?
Yeah, Vecchio, that was a key question last year for Kansas City. It explained the drop-off, frankly, offensively for the Chiefs throughout the regular season, the lack of production out of the wide receiver room. So your focus is on the speedster out of Texas, Xavier Worthy, who ran the fastest 40-yard dash we have ever seen in the history of the NFL Combine at 4.21. What market do you think the rookie shines tonight in?
Yeah, let's get things going early with a touchdown for him at plus 175. Like I said, no Hollywood Brown. And when we're looking at Rice and Kelsey as really his only competition in terms of target share, this is the spot that I think we'll see him excel. Now, let's just pretend that Hollywood Brown, we know he'd be out for an extended period of time. Week to week, it wouldn't be a surprise to see Worthy as the number one option. Not every game, but on some games, I'm going to say he's, no pun intended, worthy of being the top target share guy on the Chiefs. We know the defense is not going to not be worried about Kelsey. So at the one of the best numbers we could possibly get for Worthy, I think potentially for the entire season, I want to jump in early because if Hollywood Brown continues to be out, we're going to see Worthy drop to plus 130, plus 120 if the Chiefs offense continues to roll. So let's just jump in early right now, plus 175.
Tom, how about an under here on the Baltimore Ravens? I know you're scoping out one of those wide receivers to not have a great game. Who is that and why?
Yeah, that's Nelson Aguilar, under 14.5 receiving yards. Like I said, they're returning essentially the same receiving core from last year. Last year at a 9.6% target share. It should be going to Flowers. It should be going to Mark Andrews. We know they always want to continue to develop Rashad Bateman. Justice Hill coming out of the backfield. It's not going to be Derrick Henry catching passes. And then, like I said, Isaiah Likely is a good receiving option. So at best, Nelson Aguilar is going to be, fourth target share, probably fifth. Yeah. So he's not a receiver that's going to command 8 or 10 targets a game. It's going to be maybe 3 or 4, and they're probably going to be short ADOT targets. So Nelson Aguilar, under 14.5 yards. It's not the most exciting bet to start the season, but he's not going to be a dominant receiver for the Ravens this year.
A winning wager is an exciting bet, regardless of what it looks like. Is Rashad Bateman going to be healthy? Can we do the same song and dance for a very talented former first-round pick out of Minnesota? You saw Patrick Mahomes over 37.5 pass attempts tonight as well to round out Tom's top props. He'll have plenty more on SportsGrid's coverage throughout the game, at halftime, the post-game recap with Casey Hudson as well. But Vecchio, let's go beyond the season opener tonight. We're even this week one slate that continues Friday and into the first full Sunday. You look at the Super Bowl odds entering 2024. What is your best bet? Or maybe better said, which team do you believe provides the best value to get in on it right now before the season kicks off?
So a couple of notes here. One, I have the Texans at 25-1, which I bet back in April. The day they made the Diggs trade, I got in on that before the odds moved. But as of now, I like the Falcons at 26-1. I'm looking at a team that can potentially win their division. They have a shot at least getting a first-round bye. It's not guaranteed. The Lions, Bears, San Francisco, Philly, but there's a shot that they have home field advantage, which is always a plus. So I'll take the Falcons at 26-1.
I like that look, 26-1. Vecchio, just to follow up there, would the Falcons be then a team you are looking to cash out or hedge out with at a certain time, or do you think Kirk Cousins can lead the Dirty Birds to a Lombardi Trophy?
I would roll with the Falcons just for that price. They pick up a bunch of wins. They push to 11 or 12. Then you could look to some options later in the season.
Tom Vecchio, we will see you later all across the SportsGrid network on the opening night of the 2024 NFL season. Glad to have you here this year on the SportsGrid. Some more best bets for the Thursday night debut up next. The 2024 National Football League season starts tonight. The season debut in Kansas City at the home of the two-time reigning Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, as they will host the Baltimore Ravens in an AFC title game rematch from a season ago. Kansas City went to Baltimore. They won outright as a 4.5-point underdog, 17-10. It was the first time in 6 consecutive trips to the AFC Championship the Chiefs were booked as an underdog and on the road. The Chiefs, a favorite,
Crazy.
back in Arrowhead tonight, laying 3 points against the Flock. Total at 46.5. Donnie, we've been on this show. I mean, you've been on the show for about 2 hours and 45 minutes. I've been here for the better part of 2 hours, as you will be sitting there tonight on NFL Football In-Game Live Game Day alongside Kevin Walsh and Joe Lisi, the PFT crew. What will your bets be? Where will you have your attention?
Most of the time, I'm going to have it probably in prop bets tonight. And the reason I say that is through the first 2 weeks of the NFL season, it's always been this way for me. It's always tough to understand who's going to be the best team right out of the gate. And then by week 3, you might have a good game out of the gate, bad game week number 2. You can sort of get that even flow out of the way. But having said that, bets for me on the sides, probably not tonight, but I do think the Kansas City Chiefs win this game. So if I were betting this game from a side perspective, -3 is the direction I would go. Now, the total itself, we'd have some, good cappers on here as well and thought processes over the past 2 weeks. It doesn't look like a lot of people, and it's tough to say too, like Ravens Chiefs opening night, good weather right out of the gate. You should get close to 50 points, right? But a lot of people leaning towards the under. We can see that because the pathway to victory tonight, I don't think is the explosive play. It's getting first downs, moving the chains, eating the clock, setting up good field position. I think that's a recipe for success, particularly for the Ravens. So 46.5, pretty much a neutral there. Could go over, could go under for me. But from a side perspective, I do think the Chiefs win. But if we are looking more at that prop perspective range here, Ben, I tend to myself leaning towards the running backs. I do think Derrick Henry and Isaiah Pacheco, 2 great options to score an anytime touchdown tonight. Because as we brought up, the depth charts are very important. How many times do we see Gibbs and Montgomery in Detroit? It's just who's in on the goal line here. You know who's going to be on the goal line for this football team. It's Pacheco for Kansas City, and it's going to be Derrick Henry for the Baltimore Ravens. And I am looking from a passing perspective. I do think some pretty good numbers get put up here. But for some reason, Ben, I keep gravitating over to the tight end setup here for the Baltimore Ravens. Likely 15.5 yards. He could get that on 1 reception. Super athletic. Mark Andrews healthy to start the season. I think it's a great way to attack with Lamar Jackson here to go to their tight end set. So from a betting standpoint here, I don't have any official plays in the door just yet. We'll have a couple this afternoon, certainly on the game as we go through live. But that's sort of my game plan here. Running backs, running numbers out of the quarterbacks, tight ends on both sides. I think that's the way I might operate tonight, Ben.
Yeah, the spread feels really good at 3. It is that key number. It is flat at a field goal. Do not think it moves either which way entering the game. It would have to be a big bet or a huge sum of bets to get us up to 3 and a hook or down to 2.5, at least at this stage of the season debut. 46.5 is the number. I go under. I don't think we're going to see a 17-10 game once again, but I do lean to the under. From the trend perspective, last year, Kansas City, an underdog 4 times, including the Super Bowl, including in the AFC Championship game. And under Patrick Mahomes as the starting quarterback since 2018, the Chiefs have been a favorite in all but 16 games. As a home favorite in that span, 27-3 against the spread. Baltimore has been an incredible underdog with Lamar Jackson, 12-2 against the number when booked as a dog, and with John Harbaugh, who took over the reins in 2008. 61.8% is the cover percentage for the Flock in that span, now going on its 17th season. Only the Steelers have a better cover percentage as an underdog in that same time frame. Baltimore last year, both 2-1 straight up and against the number as an underdog in 2023. I also focus on props first and foremost. I think early on you have a couple more edges there into the very sharp betting thing that is the National Football League. And I also go to the tight ends. I think you could make an argument for 2 of my favorite props being on each of the 2 tight ends that will start tonight. Travis Kelce, over 5.5 receptions. He had 11 in the AFC title game. We laid out, DRS, throughout the postseason, Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, how prolific they have been in postseasons together. And a lot was made about Travis Kelce's lack of production throughout the regular season. Under 5.5 grabs in 4 of the final regular season games, but still in the 15 that he played last year. And don't forget, he didn't play in the season opener, so we know he's chomping at the bit tonight, a season ago at least, against Detroit. He still went over 5.5 grabs in 9 of the 15 regular season games. He was still by far Mahomes' favorite target, 121 targets. Rashee Rice had the second most at 102. I like Kelce over 5.5 receptions. I like Mark Andrews over 48.5 receiving yards. He is healthy now. Yes, there was the scare of the car accident that sidelined him from practice not all that long ago during Ravens training camp. But in the 9 games that he played a season ago that he was fully healthy for, over 48 and a half 5 times, I still think he's Lamar Jackson's favorite target. I believe the tight ends are still the top target for both quarterbacks. That's how I would look at the prop perspective of this game.
Absolutely. And also, let's have the fun here. We also have a boost tonight here that's going to be 450 yards combined between both quarterbacks tonight. That's boosted from a minus price to a plus price. I'll certainly be on that. But one of my favorite markets out here are the game specials featured market. You can't go wrong with this. Each team tonight to score a rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown, it's plus 250. I just told you, Pacheco's going to get the goal line carries. Henry's going to get the goal line carries. I would be shocked if each one of these teams doesn't run it in. And then it leaves it up to, is each one of these quarterbacks going to throw 1 touchdown pass apiece? And also keep in mind, the reason why we love these bets, how many times have your prop bets been ruined by injuries to start the game? This isn't players here. So if Lamar Jackson, and we never want to see this happen, goes down with the injury in the first quarter, you still get to continue this bet with the backup quarterback. Same thing with the running backs and like there as well. So I love that. Plus 250, each team rushing and receiving. I think it's going to get done tonight. Excuse me, rushing and passing as a touchdown. Plus 250, love it.
23.5 is that first half total. Donnie, I'm going to give my NFL awards on the other side of the break.
Yeah, give
here
mine
are yours,
too.
by the way. Yeah, here are yours. Run through them very quickly. Flash up the graphics so everybody can see. Go.
There you go. All right. C.J. Stroud. Let me read them for myself as well. C.J. Stroud, 12-1. Tyreek, Offensive Player of the Year. Myles Garrett, Caleb Williams, Jared versus Henry. Put them any way you want. They're all going to win.